Hey, welcome. So let me ask you something. Have you ever known someone, maybe a kid in your class or even yourself, who seemed kind of slow or tuned out, but you just knew they were brilliant underneath? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating cognitive rhythm that explains exactly that. It's about a mind that operates on a completely different frequency than the world around it.
And this is the central puzzle we're going to tackle. We're all taught that high intelligence means thinking fast, right? Quick answers, snappy connections. But what if a truly powerful mind actually appears sluggish or disengaged? It's a paradox, and it's right at the heart of what we're breaking down today.
Get this quote. It's from a case study about a super gifted 4-year-old boy. He was asked to do really simple tasks, like tracing dotted lines, and he couldn't do it. But here's the twist. It wasn't because he wasn't smart enough. It's because the task was so simple. His brain literally couldn't lock onto it. There was none of the complexity it needed to even start processing.
So what's really going on here? This isn't about processing speed, not in the way we usually think about it. Nope. This is about a fundamental mismatch, a clash between two totally different cognitive operating systems. You've got the mind's internal rhythm on one side and the rhythm of the outside world on the other.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to talk about a concept called oscillatory entrainment. It sounds super technical, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Just think of it like a metronome for the mind. For certain people, their brain requires a steady, predictable rhythm to process anything at all. It's not just a nice to have, it is absolutely mandatory. Without that beat, the whole system just can't engage.
And we're not talking about just any rhythm. The sources point to a very specific one, a base 12 rhythm. Now, our world mostly runs on base 10, right? We count in tens. Base 12 is a whole different way of organizing things. You see it in clocks, in music. It's more cyclical, it's more complex. And for this type of mind, that cyclic pattern is the essential scaffolding for all kinds of advanced thinking, even for something as wild as cognitive time travel.
So you can probably see where this is going. This sets up the core conflict. You have a mind that's internally wired for the beautiful, complex, cyclical nature of base 12, but it's forced to live and learn in a world that mostly communicates in the simple, step-by-step logic of base 10. And that clash, well, that's where the trouble really starts.
And this chart just lays it all out so clearly. The external world, our base trend world, it gives us simple, one foot in front of the other instructions. But the internal base 12 system, it just doesn't think in a straight line. It uses what's called tiled reasoning. It's like piecing together a mosaic from patterns it already knows. And it does recursive chunking, which means it grabs and groups massive amounts of complex data all at once. I mean, they're literally speaking two different languages. This really unique cognitive style even has a name, prismatic cognition. So what does that actually mean? Well, instead of solving a problem from scratch every time, this mind has a massive internal library, like a super fast lookup table, and it just pulls the patterns it needs. That's the tiled reasoning we were talking about. And for this whole system to work, all of its internal data has to be perfectly organized, and that organization is grounded in that core base 12 rhythm.
Okay, so what happens when you take this highly specialized, high-performance system and you constantly feed it the wrong kind of input? The consequences aren't just academic. They're actually deeply harmful. The system is put under this immense, constant strain. And this brings us right back to our original question. That sluggishness people see, it's not a deficit. It's a symptom of being starved for complexity. The simple, linear, base 10 input just isn't rich enough or rhythmic enough to get the engine going. You've got a Formula One car, but you're trying to run it on the wrong fuel. It's never even going to turn over.
When a school or a home or any environment consistently fails to provide the right kind of input, the source material uses a really powerful term for it: systemic neglect. It's a failure of the environment to meet the fundamental needs of the mind, and it can lead to actual structural damage. The psychological impact of this is just profound. For the person living it, this constant mismatch, this feeling of never being understood, can feel like a deep and painful betrayal. A betrayal by the very systems and people who are supposed to be supporting you. So, the crucial point here is that the damage is real. This quote just drives home the traumatic impact of it all. The journey back isn't just about learning new study skills. It's about healing. It's about recovery. It's literally about having to relearn what it feels like to be safe in a world that felt hostile to the very way your mind works. But here's the hopeful part.
There is a framework for understanding this. There's a name for this combination of incredible strengths and these really significant environmentally caused challenges.
And that term is twice exceptionality, or 2E for short. It describes this profile perfectly. The first exceptionality is the giftedness, that incredible prismatic cognition. The second exceptionality is the challenge, which in this case is the harm caused by an environment that just doesn't get it, an environment that neglects the mind's most basic needs. So if systemic neglect and this deep mismatch are the problem, what's the solution? Well, the source material uses this really beautiful, powerful metaphor to describe the path to healing and finally being able to flourish. This metaphor is called the second light, and it represents a kind of cognitive reset, a breakthrough moment of finally being understood. The source uses all this rich symbolic language, like the name Jemima, to represent illumination and renewal. But when you boil it all down, the second light is that intervention that finally gives the mind the complex, rhythmic input it's been starving for, allowing it to heal and work the way it was always meant to. And this brilliantly illustrates the path forward. It starts with recognizing the harm that was done by that environmental mismatch. Then comes the intervention, that second light, that cognitive reset. And the result? It's a total transformation. You go from a state of perceived dysfunction to one of recognized authentic flourishing, where the mind's true, incredible capabilities can finally shine through. Okay, so let's just boil this all down one last time. The core need is the rhythm, that special base 12 way of processing. The problem is the mismatch with our base 10 world, which creates the illusion of a problem, something that gets mislabeled as sluggish cognitive tempo. And the solution? It's a targeted understanding intervention, that second light that unlocks an individual's true strengths. And that leaves us with this one final, powerful question to think about. I mean, this whole explainer has been about a pretty specific cognitive profile, but the principle, it's universal. It really challenges us to look at what we call weaknesses, both in ourselves and in other people, and ask, is that a real deficit, or is it a powerful strength that's just been starved of the right environment to thrive?